Hey everybody. Oh boy, it's taken a while. I'm sorry, I'm probably a few minutes late. We are getting ready to have a bad storm and my internet is acting very wonky. Hey Glenn, how are you? Hello Andrea. I'm gonna mic up here, hold on just a second. I've been trying to get my router and everything rebooted and all right, how's my sound now? Can y'all hear me okay? Hey Sherry, give me some hearts or tell me if y'all can hear me okay. Great. Glad to have everybody this afternoon. I'm going to go ahead and get on moving with it because I don't know if I'm going to be kicked offline with this storm coming up. It's been a little bit of it's been a little bit of a crazy week. It hasn't been a bad week. It's just been a little bit crazy. We've been having some work done and that's always unpredictable, isn't it? Grabbing some paintbrushes here. All right, we're gonna draw this out, a little bit of this out. Can y'all see everything okay? All right, I'm gonna draw kind of just an oblong vessel here. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm gonna put several flowers. I'm just gonna draw circles right now for placement. Just for placement. We need one more, don't we? At least. There. Maybe here. That's 6. Let's do one up in the air. All right, we'll do that. And then we'll do kind of a pot over here. I appreciate y'all understanding yesterday. It was a little bit, I thought I could manage just changing the time. And then I realized after we knew more information how much of my time it was going to take. And it just is what it is. I generally like to be very consistent with my lives. And okay, we're going to have a pot there. And we're just going to have some little tiny stems coming out. You don't have to draw those, but I'm just going to put them in kind of softly. I'm going to lighten these off. Let these lines be a little softer. We'll try that. Easy. This is just something everybody can draw out, right? Andrew, have you been feeling better? Been doing better? Okay. Let's see. And maybe up here. Right here. Like that. We'll have another potted plant. And that way, when our blue flowers or whatever color I put up here become available, we can, and then I'll make kind of a boundary line about right here, like a line for your table. Let's see, where did that go? Here it is. Okay. I can't get to this side by doing that. Okay, let's get started. Oh, I've had those before. They're not horrible. They're not fun, but they're not horrible. Not the worst thing I've ever had. Just a little discomfort, but they have helped. Sometimes, occasionally I have to go back for more than one at a time. I haven't had to have one in a while. All right, I'm going to use, I'm going to mix, I think like a Pyrel red. It's kind of a cross. It might be like a natural red. Let's go with your primary red color. And I'm just going to fill in my blobs here. That's very bright. This is going to be the generalized shape of the flower. And my printer, of course, is on the, because my internet is doing funny things, my printer is not being very tolerable of that. And so just before we came live, I'm having to reboot my router. I'm not really sure how my printer is going to handle that. I just had to give up on the printer for a while. I had my Friday seated class this morning, so it's been a very busy day today. So I got home about 1:30 from that, and had a chance to sit down and grab a refreshment and rest my mind for a minute and come in. And then come over here and I again try to work and get some things printed off, but it just very frustrating when this happens. There's been road work around here recently, and they keep messing up the internet, cutting the line or something, and it hasn't been right since. And they've been working. Different agencies around here have been working for months, and one or the other of them, it keeps messing up. And I'm not complaining, because these are services that have definitely been needed that really haven't been provided to everyone in our county. We have the county we live in overall is probably on the poorer end of the spectrum. A lot of people are under the middle class session, or and they deserve to have adequate internet services just as much as I do. And so we're just struggling. We're on the struggle bus with internet services around here. Hello, Jean. I'll continue to keep you in my prayers, Andrea. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go in with this same red. Probably use a smaller brush. I'm going to put some of this over on my palette. Now I have a background, and giving it a chance to kind of dry a little bit. While that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and do my terracotta pot. So I'm going to put some of my orange, my burnt orange color, and let's do some sienna. Mix those two together, and we're going to add a little bit more sienna. I'm not sure if y'all can see what I'm mixing. Let's see if this is. Okay, I'm just going to rinse my brush, and then right up here, I'm going to come up with a lighter, same color. It'll bleed up. Okay. I was starting to get a bloom, so I thought I better take care of it. Go ahead and put this one in as well. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put in the color of my container here. Let's see. I'll use some Payne's Gray, and then just water that down really well. Let's see if I can get it. Mix it a bigger brush. We got a bigger area here. Remember to mix the water in your entire pile. Unless you moved some of that paint over to isolate that paint, then put your paint in your entire pile. If you put paint down and you think it's too dark, don't go back to mixing or trying to fix that paint. You need to get to this paint really, really quick and just go back and add water on your brush and bring it back to the paper ASAP. Don't mess around, because what will happen is that it's going to dry up on you and you're not going to have an opportunity to fix it. So once your paint is down on that paper, you've got to work it. And that's just how it is. Once you have a like that, there was an end to it, and I can still see a little bit of where I left it alone for just a few seconds. All it takes is seconds. Every second that the paint is on the paper, it's drying. And some colors are going to leave a staining line. Do you see that? I'm not sure if you can see it in our light, but if you don't fix it right away, it will become a problem. Hello, Lisa. Oh, I'm happy to do it. I enjoy being with you guys. Y'all are a good group. Okay, let's dry this, because that's quite a bit of wetness right there. We need to dry it. I had my granddaughter here yesterday afternoon for a while, and she has her own little small business, and I helped her get some of her journals. She does like crafty art, paper art, that kind of stuff, and all of her journals had sold out at the little studio, or local studio here. So they were very time consuming to make. So her and I spent the day here yesterday afternoon making journals and getting them packaged and labeled, and I took them today to the studio after my class was over and got them set up, staged them, so that she's got some there in the studio. So she was happy about that. Well, the ones that we just made, she's not sold out of those yet. I think she's made 12 more, but they're very time consuming to make, and it earns her a little bit of pocket change, and more importantly, how all the lessons in what you need to do to run a business, right? And she's doing a great job. All right, I'm going to get a little bit of a smaller brush, not too much of a smaller brush. Let's see, I'm going to use, that's a long, I don't think I want a long one. I'm going to use this number 3 brush, and I'm going to go in, and we're going to try to do some geraniums. All right, and so my paint's already dry, probably because I had that dryer on. All right, so I'm just going to kind of go in and make some petals here on my flower. Let them come off of your circle so that it's dimensional. And really what we're trying to do, I don't even know how many petals a geranium has anymore. I used to know all that stuff. But I'm just going to pretend like we know. But they're more of an oblong kind of petal. Some of them need to be foreshortened. You can do some in between so that it looks like there's some petals coming from behind where we can't see there. What have y'all been up to today? I told y'all my stories. Big plans for the weekends? Yeah, thank you. She got a good response. I posted a picture of her after we had packaged her things. She was up here, and I think it was the year before last. I had given her one of those machines that you can emboss with and cut with. because she's always got school projects and that kind of thing. And she's very much, she's a quiet person, and she creates, but it's more on the digital end of things. She likes the, right, so it's kind of like putting together a hydrangea, isn't it? Now I'm going to take a darker red. I believe this is primary magenta, and I'm just going to touch into the center of some of these and maybe even onto some of the petals. And yes, I have space in between, and that's okay. I'm gonna fix that. And I'm leaving highlights on some of these petals and putting shadows on some of these petals. I'm going to take a little bit of this color, this primary magenta. I think I'm going to add maybe just a touch of phthalo in this to darken it some. There we go. I'm not sure if that storm's going to come now or not. All right, I'm going to go in between. You can get a really small brush if you need to. I'm kind of going to go in between my flowers that we made. In those light areas. Into most of the light areas. You can leave some of them. Okay, and there we have one geranium. Your peacock looks very good, Sherry. All right, so we'll go back and do this on each one of them. We got a lot of flowers we've got to cover here. And this is what'll take the time here. As you can see, I'm just kind of pushing my brush. I'm not even trying to make petal shapes. See how much neater that is than these are. I'm just trying to get some coverage here on my, oops, put my hand right in it. It really is. It's beautiful. I've been seeing a lot of art that looks really, really nice. Y'all are really stepping it up. And let me tell you how much I really appreciate y'all sharing it in the group. I love that you do that. All right. And then we'll go into our darker. Let's go ahead and do our center area here first. This is pretty wet. I was so indecisive about what we were going to do today. So many different options. I had something picked out with a watermelon, and at the last minute I decided not to because I felt like I had just done something with the watermelon and y'all might get bored with that. So I let it go. I want to pick up some more of that magenta and then put some more blue in it. I'm putting phthalo, mixing phthalo blue into my magenta. And that's giving me a really pretty deep color. And in some areas, I'm going to tap in some areas that are just a little bit darker. Especially down here at the bottom. and right here where it meets up with this other flower. Okay. And then we can, that's a little bit too dark for shadows on the flower. But we'll just leave that. I think that looks okay. Hey, Terry. All right, and then we'll just do the same here. This is not hard, is it? So far, y'all got this? You didn't even really need a tracer, right? And I'm just making some marks here so that trying to keep my hand out of the flowers beneath that I've already painted that are still wet. One thing you don't want to do is rest your hand down in it and then transfer it down on your paper because it's not a color that you would get up. So we're just making these kind of oblong shapes. And you can even make some that have like orangey tints and such in them, especially on the top edge of these where they're getting more sunlight. Okay, so we'll try some of that on the next couple of them down here. And then just putting our dark in between where we put these petals, we're just putting the dark in between, doing this negative painting. Easy peasy, right? You can put some centers in some of them if you want to. Okay. Okay. All right. And you don't even have to be tight like this. You can be pretty loose with your petals if you want to, especially if you have a large piece of paper. Don't feel like you've got to be tight with your petals. All right, I'm going to put some orangey ones up here. And then we're going to switch back to some of our red. I'm going to mix some of this orange into my red, my primary red. It gets a little bit darker right here. Well, we got some hard clouds that came over us and it was doing some thundering. I thought maybe we would get a shower out of it, but it looks like it's going to pass along. It's still thundering out there, though. You don't want to go too different than your original flowers because it'll look off. So, all right. So we've got kind of what was the original color you used at first? I used primary red, and then the dark was magenta, and then I also at times used a little blue mixed into my magenta. So primary red, and this here is magenta with some of that blue mixed in on it. Make sure that it's not too much here. And I'm just going into some of the negative spaces. And if you don't know what that is, that just means I'm going into the areas that don't have paint. That don't have these petals we just put down. And we're just putting in some of our shadows. can let this dry and go back and do a wash of a light red over top of it, and it'll blend better with that. So it's an extra step, but it really depends on, I'm going to mix this orange in with my primary red, and it's going to give me something similar to more of a Pyrrole red. Pyrrole, I don't know if y'all have heard that before, P-Y-R-O-L-E, which is very much a red that leans towards the orange side. Gives very pretty colors. It's a very pretty color. Very bright red. It won't give you pink, but it'll give you a bright, fiery red. So my flowers are looking more on the abstract side, and I'm okay with that. More impressionistic. I'm not like stressing out over every little petal and the shape of it. I'm just getting it on the paper. I came back from my seated class, and then I went in and put a load of clothes on to wash. So I'm trying to kill a lot of birds with one stone. I've rubbed my paper. Y'all have big plans for the weekend? Can't believe it's the weekend already. So by now, you guys should have kind of a good idea about how I'm working these flowers. Okay. I could take some of that and a real watery mix here, and then just kind of and to me that looks better. It looks like I've brought it together more. And then I'm going to pop in a couple of little centers on these. And that looks better. Okay. Back to my primary red. That's right. I'll probably be working. We're doing a home reno, so I'll probably be knee deep in that. I'm ready for it to be done already. Right now, everything needs to be cleaned, top to bottom, the whole house. It's filled with like a sticky dust, and that needs to be cleaned big time. So that's probably what we will be doing this weekend. Our painters finished up yesterday, and that's kind of what we were waiting on. Okay. Hey, Sherry. Yes, flowers today. Flowers because my printer wouldn't work. I had told them I was going to do another thing with watermelon, but I didn't want to bore them. So this is what we decided on. I have another one I want to try to do, but I'm not going to say it out loud. But it would be fun to do this time of year with 4th of July coming up. If I had thought about it sooner, we could have definitely have fit it in sooner. You know, could have enjoyed it longer, but my brain is on overdrive. Yeah, things kind of go to a standstill, don't they? All right, last red flower. Woo. Next time, maybe don't put so many flowers in yours so you don't have to work yourself so hard as I have here. Do y'all have good luck with hydrangea? Not hydrangea, geraniums. Do y'all have good luck with them? I don't. I do not have good luck with them. They stick around for a short period of time and then they're gone. Some people can keep them all summer, but that's not me. All right, now back to our darker color here, and we're going to do all of our negative painting. If you have any areas that don't have that just look like there's too many red blobs, then add some of this darker color there somewhere around it because it'll break it up some. And these are very abstract in nature, and that's the way I want mine. By all means, if you want yours to look very detailed, then you should do them very detailed. But all right, so we're going to mix some greens now. And let's see, I don't have any sap green on my palette here. Let's see, what do I have? All right, I've got Pyrale green, but I don't want it to be that dark, so I'm going to mix in some yellow ochre, or what I perceive as yellow ochre. Y'all know mine's not true yellow ochre by now. This kind of turns into a real, kind of a weird golden green color. And it's okay for some of my leaves to be that color, but for the most part, I want, actually I've got this color green here. What was this? This is perfect here. This green apatite genuine, y'all, if y'all don't have this green, get it. It's beautiful. It's absolutely a beautiful color. And it just, I love it. It's, to me, I love sap green, but I love this better than sap green, and that says a lot. All right, so I'm going to take it, I'm going to pull a leaf here. Their leaves are kind of round and curly. I might have to pull it, draw it out a little bit there, like that. And I can see through it, which is fine because we're just on our first layer here. Okay. We're just on our first layer. I'm going to take some of this dark plum color and I'm going to kind of trail around that edge a little bit. It's still wet, so it's going to bleed. Yeah. Your hydrangea are? I always, you know what I always do? I always go to the YouTube. There's so many different ways to look at it, I suppose. I'm going to take some of this more golden and come along this outer edge here. I'm going to take my brush and pull a line and just kind of pull out and just let that be. Okay. So let's go to our next one. And this golden color leaf, I'm going to make a little bit brighter. I'm not thrilled. I'm going to put some yellow, cad yellow. I think that's medium, but it might be deep. I'm going to add some of that in there. I think that's, if you've got gamboge and pyrrole, that would be great. Gamboge is a really pretty color. So let's kind of come up here and do our little wavy leaf here, our circular wavy leaf. I'm just going to come right in between my flowers there. My brush running dry, dampen that off a little bit. I'm going to take some of this mixture of this more golden green, tap it along in here. While this is very wet, I'm going to go ahead and strike into it and make our, and then I can go in with my darker plum color and we can just kind of lightly scribble some in here, right in there. This is, what do I do with it? Green Apatite Genuine. It's really, really pretty. Green Apatite Genuine. I'm gonna go a little bit more, and I'm gonna add a little bit more yellow into my green. I'm gonna come up here and I'm gonna kind of create another leaf. It's more golden in color. It's got the sun shining on it more. Go into my petals here. Now I'm going to go just into my Genuine Apatite Green. I'm going to make my strikes. Gently do that. Don't do that too hard. Okay. I'm going to take just a little bit of my pink and I'm going to touch right here at the tip. Just like that. This is where you can be real creative and make a difference with your greenery here and try to let each leaf be unique. Got a little bit of a hard edge, and in nature that would be fine, but I'm just being a little fussy about it. I'm going to take a little bit of my green apatite and I'm going to come in here and darken that right in there. I don't want to smear it. Okay, I'm leaving it alone. For some reason, I do keep calling these hydrangeas. I apologize for that. So I'm going to put a leaf in here that looks a little bit more foreshortened. That comes in from that direction. And I'm going to just take some of my green apatite on my brush while it's wet and kind of come in from behind it. It looks like we've got a leaf kind of peering out right there. We'll just leave that. right. And pull. And sometimes when I'm pulling down, I'm waving my lines a little bit. I'm not keeping them all just really straight when I'm doing this because I want to try to add in some character to it, to our leaves. I'm going to take my green, what is this green? Pyrrole green, I think that's what it's called. Putting some darker green right here where we're obviously going to have shadow. And I'm going to come on around and just edge this a little bit. Damp brush. Okay. Darken this a little bit too. No, I keep calling them hydrangea because that's how my brain is today. They're more of a, what do you call them? All right, put some more water in this and let that loosen up. It's the porch flower, Sherry. What do you call them? Geraniums, yes. Gosh, my brain, I swear, it's how my brain is. I'm not used to being live this time of day. I'm just gonna darken that area a little bit here. That'll give me a shadow. And I'm gonna do the same here and darken this. Geraniums have a lot of negative space between them. They don't necessarily have all of this dark space between them either. The flowers are usually not so dense. The overall flower is usually not so dense. But you make them like you want to make them. This is how my mind was today, and this is how I'm going to do them today. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You know, it's like I know I'm tired. We just had so much going on. When I'm tired, and when I'm especially live, when you're live and you have to think of things on the spot, it makes a difference. Don't like this one here at all. So we're gonna try to fix it. When you can't fix it, you just paint everything the same color. And I gotta be careful because what does green and red make? Y'all remember what green and red makes? It makes brown if you scrub it together. Okay, I need to put another one here, but we need to move on. Let's see what time it is. It is 20 after. Okay. Take some more of my terracotta color here and go back and put in a darker edge under the rims. And take these corners and darken them. Inside corners and darken them. And then I'm going to take a liner brush. I can find one. Excuse me. I'm using some of my Green Apatite Genuine. And I'm just going to pull up at the tip of my brush if it gets dry. Oops, I went outside of my thing there. And we'll just make our greenery for our little blue flowers. I keep saying they're going to be blue, so I guess I better make them blue. I don't know what kind of flowers they are. They're just filler flowers. But I just know that with this orangey red color here, that the blue is going to go very well with it. And I'm just going to tap in some of these flowers very abstractly. I'm coming down low and I'm going up higher, so that all aspects of this are covered in the blue. And you can tap in some if you want. Just like that. Hey, Sandy. I watched it last night. I didn't get to finish, but your project was pretty. I saw enough of it that I knew what I was looking for. Yeah, I had to postpone yesterday to today. All right. And if you need to, you can go into like these, like that, and just add a little extra when they get real light. Okay. And I'm just going to come in here as well and add in good. I think it goes pretty with the red. We might just let this be a house plant. How about that? Cross over some of them. Don't just make them all straight up and down. Just make sure some of them go a little on the wonky side, as nature would give us. I have a harder time going to the right because I'm left-handed, but just give it a try. And I'll just put some dirt in there. And we're going to use a dark brown for the dirt, probably umber. Just fill in those negative spaces. Just make sure that you keep your pot straight, or it'll look like you got a broken pot. Mine got down into the top of my pot, but it's okay. I'll make a little bit more sense out of it. All right, I'm going to use a little bit of my Payne's Gray in here as well, and just let that bleed and do its thing. Okay. I know that looks like it's standing up in the air, but we're going to fix it. We might do it. We might wait and do it Monday, because I feel like if I start on something, that it's going to take me down a rabbit hole, and I don't want to. I don't really want to go down a rabbit hole at this late in the evening. Let's see. I'm going to use a little bit of phthalo blue, a little bit of Payne's Gray to make a little bit of a darker blue, and then I'm going to come down here onto my container, and I'm just going to use a bigger brush is what I'm going to try to do. And just get in our shadows. I'm going to take some of the same color and use it here on my pot. And I'm going to use a little turquoise. And I'm going to lift it. After I put it down, I'm going to lift it. This could actually be a little bit greener. It would help. There we go. And just the texture from the paper towel. I'm going to put some of that mossy goodness on here. And I'll take some of this and mix it with my green apatite. That looks good. I like that. Hey, Margot. Okay. All right. We're going to leave this for right now. We've got a right good much of it done. Let's anchor this. Let's anchor it on down. Let's see. I guess I could use the Payne's Gray. Problem is that's the same color as our bucket here. We'll just have to go a little bit darker. Come right up underneath of our bucket, or our little pail here. And then I'm just going to pull. I'm going to pull a little bit of these into my shadow. All right. That one went a little bit too high, but I'm not going to stress over it. All right, so we'll leave it at this for right now, and then we'll finish this off on Monday. And I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. This is going to look different when we finish it. Make sure that you get, right up good and up tight under this little planter here, and that gets darker because this will lighten as it dries. So you may have to go in and darken that shadow a little bit more intensely, right up underneath the planters here. Damp brush here. Hey Sherry, how are you this morning? All right, I was just putting a shadow right here. I tucked in a leaf right here last week, and when we were working on it, I didn't want to forget to put a shadow right there. So I'll put one right down in there too. So I've got a leaf here that's kind of tucked in and folded over, and I just wanted to make sure that they were separated. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. We're still just about a minute early by my clock. I added a couple of things to the composition here, and I knew I would. It was part of the plan. I just didn't know where I was going to put my flag. And so for right now, I've chosen to kind of tuck it right in here for a little splash of color. This pot here was kind of floating midair, so I needed to seat it down. So I've put like a kind of like a crate right here that's going to peek out on this side. And for balance, I've tucked in a wagon wheel behind the geraniums. So, but I have put, I've gone ahead and made a line drawing traceable for anybody who wants it. And it's up on the page. I just did it straight from this painting so that if y'all really want to do this one, it's available. All right, so I'm going to get started. And I think I'm going to start with our flag back here because that's probably going to be what takes most of the time. And I want to make sure I've got good detail and coverage there. And basically, I just want one of those really small flags, those handheld flags that you wave in the air, just kind of tucked into our vignette. I've picked up a little bit of, I guess this is a sienna. Way too much water on my brush. This brush holds a lot of water. It's got long bristles, so. And I'm just going right over top of what I've done here because it's lighter than the green right now. And this doesn't need to be really dark. And then I'm going to come, while it's wet, I'm going to tap in down here to the bottom. And while it's still wet, I'm going to just run a line right down here. I might take a smaller brush and do this. Oh, you're welcome. Hey, good morning, Andrea. I'm not really seeing a whole lot come from it. So it might need to dry a little bit. It might be just way too much water. And then I'm just going to take and put a little bit of shadow right here because it's kind of tucked behind a lot of this. It won't be quite as and I'm going to tuck a little shadow just up underneath of the little ball there. Okay, so we'll let that dry before we carry on. I hope everybody had a great weekend. It's almost too hot to do much of anything, isn't it? It's another scorcher today. We had probably around 10:30 last night. We had a good shower come through. But that's the only rain we've had in a long time. All right, I'm going to take some of the sienna and I'm going to start putting it in here. I'm going to work a little bit around my flowers. Try not to totally cover these because I could mask them at this point, but I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm just going to leave it as is. And try to work around it the best I can. But you could totally mask your flowers. I wouldn't worry about your stems so much because we're going to go back and darken some of those in a bit. But I'm going directly over top of the stems, trying to be a little more careful about the flowers. So it's really not that bad. Okay. I'm going to take my smaller brush again, and I'm going to go into a darker brown. This is probably an umber. I'm going to come right up in here. This is still really wet, and it's going to want to go where I don't quite want it to go. I'm going to try to follow these lines here. And just we're just going to make it pretty rustic looking. I'm just going to take and dry brush this some. And I'm not gonna do too much to this. We'll play around with it, even if it's picking up some of the textures of my paper towel now that it's damp, and that's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna go back and redefine this a little bit. I'm just going to put a couple little I don't know, nail holes maybe. Just something to add a little character. You don't have to do that. Don't forget, with these little brushes, you tend to grab a lot of water on your ferrule, so just be careful. All right, I'm going to leave that alone for now. What I don't want is this to be the same color as these, and so I'll probably have to come back and do some more work to these or either to this, but we want to kind of separate those in space. All right, let's see how we're doing here. That seems to be pretty dry. All right, I'm going to pick up a phthalo blue. You can use phthalo or aquamarine, whatever color you want for the blue part of the flag, and I've pulled it off away from the wood piece here, and I did not put stars in it. I will add stars later after this dries, or something that resembles stars, but you can certainly take the time to do that. I felt like with 4th of July coming up. Hey, Sherry. With 4th of July coming up, why not do something kind of patriotic? All right, I'm just going to, actually, I probably need to let that dry. I'm going to let it completely dry, and then I'll pull in a little bit more of the color. It looks like I needed to go down a little bit right here by my line. Okay. And that already starts breaking things up a little bit there. And I could actually pull it down a little bit more if I wanted to, just to cover that small space there. But of course, I'll be putting our lines in. But if I really wanted to, other than just adding red there, which is going to confuse things with this, I think that's what I'll do. I'm just going to pull that there. There we go. All right. I'm going to go back with my lighter brown again. And I'm not going to start at the end. I'm going to start in the middle, and then go out from there, grab some water on my brush, and just extend this paint. as it comes around. It's going to naturally be darker down here. Every time I add water to my brush, it's going to lighten up a little bit. I still have water on my brush, as you see. I still have, sorry, not just water, but paint on my brush. And so we'll just continue to pull that as long as we need to. So don't think that you have to always go back to your pan of paint. Now I'm going to take, this is going to start getting a little darker, so I'm going to go into my pan and tap in some here because this will be in shadow there. And then I'm also going to kind of come along under here, just like that, and we will also come down our spokes. Okay, I'm going to go back into my pan now and pick up a little bit more. Let's start with this one, offload some right here. And then I'll come around this way. And I have the wheel, I guess this is the bearing where this goes onto the actual, I'm just going to fill this in for now, but this will be darker. And I'll pick up some of the darker right now. And while this is wet, I'll go ahead and fill that in. And tap in closer around the flowers to make that a little bit darker. And I'm going to tap in a little bit here. Okay. I'm going to take my smaller brush. Make sure I've got the water off my ferrule. And I'm going to make a little pile of my darker brown that we're using. All right. Okay. And I'm just going to kind of I'm going to come down on the bottom side of the spokes and just run a dark line gently on not all of them, but some of them. It doesn't need to be a wide line. And then as it comes to the top, we'll leave this top one, the center one alone, and then they'll start changing up more to this side. And they're going to be a little bit thinner, maybe not go all the way down. I need to wetten my brush. You start seeing a little dry brush there. Just dip your brush. And that made my line a little thicker than what I wanted. It happens sometimes. And I need to add some of my lighter brown in there. Okay. Let's see if I can fix this any. I can go back and fix some of that with gouache where it went into a dry brush. but I'm not overly worried about it. I'm going to kind of come back and do this this darker line. I might use my liner brush. It might give me my Fumui brush would probably work best, to be honest. I'm going to put a lot of water in my dark brown here. I need to pull one out. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. And it starts getting a little thinner as it pulls around. I'm going to take this and lighten this paint up, this darker paint, lighten this paint up with water. And I don't want this paint color to be so yellow, so I'm just going to use this brown, this umber brown, and make it a little bit more of a neutral brown. I'm going to darken this area. Okay, I'm going to take the same color and do the spokes of the wheel now. It's pretty dark. Morning, Sandy. All right, we're going to put some shadows while we have our dark paint. We're going to just add and tap in some shadows so that our flowers kind of stand off of our page. That looks, I don't like that. Just lighten that just a hair. Okay. Now I need to do something here in between these where you've got gaps in your flowers, especially since this was a hindsight addition. I'm going to actually make that pretty dark because I want my leaf to stand out like that. I'm going to take a little bit of my water, soften that there and here. Okay. Remember, if you don't want to spread a shadow, pull your paintbrush towards it instead of pulling it outwards. Sometimes these paints can just stretch so much. All right, the wheel is going to have to be grounded at some point. I'm going to go ahead and darken this as well, just like that. And we'll put a little bit of a darker center, even darker than what it is. There we go. Catch up with this. Thank you, Tanya. Hey, Lucy, good morning. I've been thinking about you. Hoping you're doing okay. Make sure my blue is good and dry before we move on. I got my spokes a little wonky. I know that looks like it's floating midair right now, but it'll be fine. We're going to ground it in this. Okay, I'm going to use this brush because it's very soft and flexible. And I think I can go back into my phthalo blue here and put another layer of phthalo blue down. You definitely want to make sure your blues are completely dry before you add another layer, because it will just pick it up and it'll leave a wet, it will leave streaking and marks in your blue. If you want a solid blue, or any dark colors really, make sure that it's completely dry and cured. The heat gun likes to pick my tape up off of my, this is Bohung tape, it's artist tape, but it's low tack, and every time I use it, it likes to lift it up off my paper and my board, so I have to watch it. I've got some tape coming in. I ran out of my regular painter's tape, but it was supposed to be in last week. It didn't come. Now it's saying it's going to come today. We'll see if it does. I wouldn't think that painter's tape would be something that would be on a delay, but evidently it is. All right, so I'm going to take some red, and I'm just going to take my primary red, y'all. It's probably the closest thing to what the flag actually looks like, and it helps to turn your paper in that direction. So I'm just going to, actually a flat brush would work better than this. Let me see if I can find one. I know I have them. Let's see. Let me see. Let's see. These aren't good flat brushes. Where are my good ones? Okay, so I have this one. It's a little on the wide side. It's number 6. We're going to go with it. But it'll give me a crisp line right at the start. And then we're just going to skip. I should have come down a little bit more, but I think when I started with the round brush, then came back with this brush, it got a little confused. And you can wave your line a little bit. I'm just going right over top of the red that's down there. And that's actually almost done. And like I said, reds can be very hard to saturate. That didn't go like I planned, but y'all can do better than me. Actually, I have some more down here. I'm going to try to capture this. The flag is kind of bent a little bit here. Okay. I'm going to do that and let this dry. I'm going to go back into my burnt orange. My yellow ochre, mix those in. I'm going to go back over and reestablish. Thank you, Sherry. I might cover up part of that post there. I am going to take some of this dark brown. There's lots of water in this, so it's probably going to lighten. I'm just going to tap some in here. While I have it on my brush, may as well do it here as well. Okay, let's pick up some of our green. Let's dry it off first. I've got some more work to do to my flag. As well as my plants. I'm going to see if I can't fix that some. It's not doing what I want it to do. I've lifted some of it and I don't want to. Well, it'll be part of the wood character, won't it? I'm using the wrong brush. I'm going to fight over this wheel, I can tell. I'm going to come this way. Well, actually, I'm going to spread this out some more. Now I'm going to come this way. I could fight a while trying to fix this mistake, but I'm going to leave it for right now. All right, I'm going to wet my brush here. I'm going to use this green. Okay, now I'm going to take and darken my little spider appendages. Is that what you call them? Okay. There's one back here. I'll add a couple of darker ones too. And then I'm going to take my liner, dampen that, and really add some of this green to it. And get dark down here at the bottom. And I think I'm going to bring a few of these kind of coming over. I didn't mean to put it there. Okay. Thank you, girls. Darken a few of these. Keep some of them still lighter. Okay. Let's dry those. I'm going to do a very, very light wash of Payne's Gray. Could actually just do dirty paint water and it would be all right. I'm just going to pull. I have to be careful because I don't want to pull, loosen up my red paint. And I'll definitely have to add more. Put a little wrinkle in my flag there. And let's see, let's go back to my red. I'm just going to kind of make a strange bend here. It did cross the white. We'll fix that with wash. Fix that. I'm going to take a little bit of gouache with a little bit of on my paintbrush, and right up here where I put those red stripes, I'm going to brighten that off right there because it's at the high point. If y'all don't know what I mean, I'll explain it later. But what I've done is I've put a little bit of a bend in my flag, and right here where it's bending upwards, waving upwards, I want to add a little bit of highlight there. Then I want to finish my line off right here. Okay, and I can put a little bit of a highlight right here and here. I can just go all the way across to be better. And I'm softening that line with water because gouache acts a whole lot like watercolor. And, oh, I'm going to use this gouache. I'm going to take, I might need a smaller brush. This paint is heavier. It's always better to use, you can use your watercolor brushes sparingly with gouache. But gouache is pretty hard on these brushes because they're meant for watercolor. It's not meant to push this much weight around. So, but you can use it pretty sparingly. These are not pretty stars. But we'll do what we're going to do here. Just our interpretation, our impressionistic interpretation, right? It's in the background anyways. That's way too white. Let me see if I can lift some of that. Let's see if I can lift it this way. It's terrible looking. I've got water on my ferrule. That's what's happening. Too much water on your ferrule. Pick straight up. It helps. Okay, let's see. I'm going to use a darker red to go right in here. I know it looks rough. Sometimes using these little brushes are hit and miss. Oh my goodness, excuse me. Oh my gracious. I'm just playing around with some shadowing at this point. Okay. And a little bit. I'm just letting that flag fly. where the reds cross over each other, there needs to be a little bit of a darker red shadow there. And then just where the flag's ruffling up on itself. If I could see something, it would be helpful. And right here. Okay. I'm going to take some of my bright red now and go back over where I put the gouache, put a transparent layer over that, and it'll brighten it back up again, but it will make it lighter. Not sure I like it, but anyways, let's see here. Almost feel like the stars need to be a little bit whiter. All right, let's work on grounding some of this stuff here. I'm going to use my Payne's Gray, and really need to work on this some, but you want to remember from previous lessons, you want to go around the edge to make this look like it's got dimension to it. Going right up underneath this tire where it's actually touching the surface. And that's where it's going to be the darkest. All right, let's go back and pull some more of this Payne's Gray over. I could really use a bigger brush. Yeah, umber would look good too. Purple, umber, blue, anything with blue in it, and this definitely has blue. And it will lighten considerably. Definitely. If you need to go back and darken areas, again, where they touch, then have at it. And of course, my paper doesn't want to sit still because this is not on a block. This is just a loose piece of paper that's taped down, and it's going to buckle. All right, and you can also take and do some shadowing on the wall behind it. That would be a lot of fun to do. You can totally do it. And just make it look pretty dimensional. That just spreads. Let's lift it up. Okay. You could do some of this. You could do all kinds of that stuff. We definitely need to add some more here. I'm going to add a little bit of rusty dry brush to it. I've put some orange on my brush. I'm going to tap off any water. I'm just going to dry brush texture here. I'm not going back and dipping my brush in water. I'm just adding some crusty bits here. I'm going to use my bigger brush. This brush holds water, so I've got to be careful. Yeah, lots of water on that. Just adding some character other than just a flat. Excuse me. Americana. God bless the USA. All right, let's add a little bit of our dark brown where some of this rust kind of did its thing. This is pretty dark here. We just want a couple of spots where we're going to tap in. I'm sorry. I have a dry spot in my throat right now. I'm just using a damp brush, a little bit of a damp brush. It's very damp. It's like dry damp. And I'm pulling, because I put such a big blob, I'm just pulling some of this. Yeah, it's aggravating, isn't it? Aggravating. Make sure you blot off. Make sure you blot off. Because even when you go down to your paint, there's water in that paint and you're going to pick up. Okay. I'm going to put some raw sienna in this orange. Bump it up a little bit. Oh, I forgot to tap it off, didn't I? That looks better, though. Okay. And that got a little bit long. That got a little bit flat. Keep the bottoms of your pots rounded. I do think I need to darken, put some extra color here. Almost done, guys. Okay. Details. I'm trying to cover the mic when I cough, guys. I know it's loud. I'm sorry. really wished I could get my box to look the way I wanted it to. That's a little bit better. All right. Let me see it. My flag is far from perfect, but I feel like I need to do something in here. I need to fix this white part to my flag. I'll just go back and hit up a couple of these and whiten them up, lighten them up a little bit. Some of them, not all of them. All right, we're going to let that go now. All right, wished I had done this a little bit differently, but it kind of got difficult to do with this paper buckling like it was. So okay, that'll. All right, there we go, guys. There's our Americana. There's so much space up at the front that you could probably add something more up at the front, maybe a loose geranium or a geranium flower leaf, like a leaf had fallen off. That would be cool. And if I had to do the bottom over again, I would do it a little bit differently, but it wouldn't be as dark, like the shadowing, but it looks okay. It's not bad. You're welcome, Sandy. I hope this is one y'all give a try. It's very condensed and full, and do parts of it if you'd like. You don't have to do the whole thing, but try some geraniums. They're fun. Go back in here, and now that all this is dry, and I'll pop up my flowers that are needing some down in here. Any white spots that are left, you can fill them in with the flower. My stomach is saying feed me. And I got to get to the post office. Okay. Yeah, better. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great one. I'll talk to you Thursday, I think. Take care. Bye-bye.